Hello, gentlemen. It totally has not been a long-ass time since I have done this series, where I, talk about people's actions. Or, wait. Oh god, it has been a long-ass time. Oh my lord. Okay, yeah, it really has been quite a while since I have last made a commentary video on this channel, to be honest. Anyway, now that I have finally brought back the series for the first time in 3.5 years, we are going to be talking about the person that most of you have probably known well, or whatever, as of today, which is of course KennyAnimate. Yes, the KennyAnimate, now known as SorcererAnimate for whatever fucking reason. And not only I'm going to talk about this guy right here, I am also going to talk about how he fell off over the past couple of years. And why, or how, doesn't really matter. He is also a complete fucking asshole on the inside. So, yeah, let's begin with the gameplay footage, shall we? Alright, so what up, fuckers? It's Hunter, also known as Jaeger Spikes here. And today, this commentary video I'm doing right now is not biased, or maybe it could be, I don't know. And not just me being a complete asshole, kind of like the other previous commentaries I have made on my channel. Alright, let's just get to the fucking point anyway. So, as you may have recalled from almost 2 years ago, Kenny has also gone controversial for once comparing Caillou getting his penis cut off, which is from the video Caillou's Ultimate Punishment Day made by Luigi 99, to South Park. Yes, that South Park, which I guess apparently that show did the same fucking thing. I mean, if that's the case, then how's that show still not canceled to begin with? And may I remind you folks, that video made by Luigi 99 also does, of course, have child pornography on it. And yet, for whatever reason, some motherfucker says it's just quote-unquote dark humor and it's quote-unquote normal on other videos. Like, nah, you're not gonna be what the fuck? Man, I can guarantee you that shit's obviously not fucking normal at all. They could just get the fuck out if they do something that's truly considered pedophilia for all I care. And then Kenny, on the other hand, used that as offense to that fucking video. Anyway, not only did Kenny compare that shit to South Park, he has also claimed some stupid shit like, pedophilia is a disorder. And yes, I'm not joking. He legitimately claimed that. And I also kid you not, if you want to know where he got all that retarded ass information from, well, here, I'll tell ya. From And yes, there were actually some sources you can find on Google that made this fucking claim. Wouldn't be surprised if it was made by either some stupid-ass people who don't even know what 2 plus 2 is, or it could have been an actual pedophile that made this claim. I don't know. You tell me. Also, not to mention that also caused Kenny to say that people are born pedos. What? My apologies for overusing the reverb thing, by the way, I just thought it was pretty funny to do so. But, oh, I guess some people born with that quote-unquote disorder were sexualizing a fucking sperm when they were just born. And I also, kid you not, he has also once claimed that misgendering people is worse than the school shooter killing fucking children. Which unfortunately the screenshots don't already be found, but however, he did admit it later that day. And when I first heard that he said some shit like that other than a pedos a disorder thing, it was absolutely one of the dumbest shit I had ever heard in my entire life. I mean, come on man, there's no way it was like 2023 and you're saying some retarded ass shit like that, bro. Like, what the fuck? Anyway though, when he said he got that information from Google, I did eventually have to tell him what you guys also need to understand, so please listen carefully, that not everything on Google is true. And whatever kind of shitty information you see on Google are just made the fuck up all along. So, whatever you do, don't trust Google. And that's it. And then, eventually, he did apologize for it, which I'm kind of glad he did learn that Google is not always right, but I still never forgave him anyway. But then we made up several months later, and then everything just went fine after all. And that's the 2023 story, y'all. Sorry if that throwback lasted about a few fucking minutes. There was like a bunch of evidence that I could find from a while ago. And do keep in mind, that throwback was still an introduction to this video, if that surprises you, because it legit sounds like we're in the middle of the video going on, but we're actually not. Alright, with all the throwback aside, let's actually get right into the point, shall we? Alright, so, like I said, after that chaos happened back in 2023, everything was going okay with Kenny the next year. Or so I thought. Until this year. And of course, the big 25. And most of you guys must be wondering, uh-oh, has Kenny started to act up again ever since? Did he just go controversial again? Well, to answer your question, you, sir, are damn right. Because lately, Kenny has started to constantly gaslight people, especially the ones he hates or dislikes. He became very fucking desperate, and yes, he is that desperate enough to gaslight people, and a huge fucking narcissistic. So, in this video, I'm gonna be telling you the whole story about how this started to happen, and why he's more than a fucking asshole. So, without further ado, let's begin. So, this all started when 7 months ago, one of my guys named Chronic, shout out to him by the way, made this video called The Dark Side of Wilson Perez, and this video was meant to expose Wilson Perez's very controversial actions, such as doing child pornography and all that stuff of course, and yes, it does clearly show evidence, and gladly everyone was on his side in the comments below that video. But, until about 6 months later, when Chronic was showing the screenshot of the Wilson Perez video in the Discord server, Kenny for some fucking reason decided he wanted to go after Chronic by accusing him of sending quote-unquote child pornography, and when he got asked, are there genital areas shown, that motherfucker said, yes there clearly is. Like, bitch, what kind of genitalia is shown? Her face. And when Chronic tried to prove him wrong about that screenshot shown, Kenny also wanted to say some bullshit like, on another angle, there is genitalia shown there, in order to make him look evil and get cancelled right away! My apologies for yelling, by the way. It's just that the way he went after him like this was looking pissing me off, not gonna lie. But anyway, not to mention that even his fuck buddies also wanted to join into this shit and accuse him of saving quote-unquote uncensored child porn, when it clearly was censored at the time. And apparently he also did delete the uncensored one right away, because, you know, he wouldn't be that stupid enough to under any circumstance keep the uncensored one in the files. And speaking of them accusing Chronic of saving uncensored CP, they were also sending their fucking dumbass down to the screen to talk about some, you still screenshotted uncensored CP. And basically what they were trying to say was that, you screenshotted a predator doing child pornography and had it in your files but edited it out and deleted the uncensored one right away to avoid criticism. And yes, that is in fact what, and as I may quote them, you still screenshotted uncensored CP is like saying, like, okay, so basically they're not allowed to show evidence of someone deeply controversial like this? What the fuck else are they supposed to do instead when showing evidence? And matter of fact, that's also the same thing only real motherfuckers did to predators when exposing them sending child porn images by making a video of them. They censored the screenshot and then deleted the uncensored one immediately. That's all I had to clarify. It is not fucking rocket science, you people! And in addition, they also tried to call out Chronic for once calling a 14-year-old cute, which is referring to him talking about some gadgetard named Bella the Wolf, who was, by the way, faking her face reveal, which I bet she actually ugly as fuck in real life. And when Bella revealed it, which turned out to be fake, Chronic would later say, and I quote, some shit like, First of all, I don't know a cute person like her would be a type of person who would disrespect US veterans and would creep on a younger person. Which, do keep in mind, I believe Chronic was, and still is, 21 at the time. But I'm gonna clarify something real quick. I mean, sure it does sound fucked up, but he didn't, like, say it in a sexual way at least. Which, for example, he wouldn't even be talking about some, I didn't know a girl I'd like to fuck would be a huge creep. No the fuck he wouldn't. Y'all just decided to take it way out of context like y'all never seen a person complimenting others before. Like, I'm talking normally complimenting people, for another example. Y'all are just fucking ridiculous at this point, man. Alright, my apologies for not talking about Kenny for 2 minutes now. Let's, just go to chapter 2, shall we? Alright, so as the days went by after that, speaking of Kenny trying to make people look evil, he would begin to be very manipulative, become a gaslighter, and to be very fucking delusional. And yes, he is literally delusional as fuck. For example, he would begin to call people pedophiles, creeps, zoophiles, transphobes, and more left and right, and back and forth. Especially my dudes too, whom I'll name later. And hell, he would even accuse one of my guys named Crazy, shout out to him also by the way, of harassment, which I'll get into that later. And as I showed that screenshot of Kenny calling us one of those terms, I'm just gonna put a Vine Boom Jesus, oh my god. As I was saying, I'm just gonna put a Vine Boom sound on every single term he called us just because I feel like it or whatever. And just to kind of make fun of what he really said. So, yeah, here it is, I guess. This is your fault for siding with pedophiles, zoophiles, pedosadists, zoo-sadists, predators, creeps, racists, homophobes, transphobes, and Nazis. I hope you are proud of yourself. I can't believe you. I respected you, bro. This is your last chance to make things right. Alright, I know that was a bit edgy of me, as you may thought, for doing that to the screenshot, so my apologies, I guess. But after I did that to the terms Kenny ironically mentioned in that message he sent, I'll get into the reason why I said ironically later in this video. I'm just going to be going through, or should I say, debunk, the terms he has called us, and why in his logic he thinks they are one of those terms. So, let's go with them, shall we? Number 1, the pedophiles part. Well, I shit you not, if you want to know why he considered us as pedophiles for, he legitimately called us pedophiles for using the fucking N-word, which obviously that's more of a racist than a pedophile anyway, but in his fucking logic, the reason why he thinks this is considered quote-unquote pedophilia is because of this information right here. He really thinks just because this fucking happened, saying the N-word automatically makes us a pedophile now, huh? Like, man, be fucking for real, will ya? I guess I really reminded you guys of the time he used Google as a source to, you know what, 2 years ago. Alright, next term. Number 2, the zoophiles part. And I also, shit you not, he uses the Mario X Sonic video, then apparently this gif right here, and a fucking gif of a duck twerking as his logic on why or how we are specifically considered as zoophiles. Yeah, pretty fucking laughable, isn't it? I think it is too. Also, I'm gonna give you a note that I'm skipping some of the terms he has considered us since they are either actually pretty reasonable or that they are basically the same reasons I already listed or about to list on why he thinks we are one of those terms. So, anyway, next term. Number 3, the creeps part. For example, he was trying to expose us for quote-unquote distributing pornography to an apparent 14-year-old. However, you want to know what kind of images he considered as pornography? Well, here, I'll tell you. A fucking Kai gif! Yes, I'm not joking. This motherfucker legitimately called this distributing pornography. Like, bro, how? So you mean to tell me, by your logic, that in addition, Kai is also a predator for humping a fucking object like a PS5? Oh my, I'm sorry. Sorry about that, gentlemen. That shit was just low-key funny as hell, I'm not gonna lie. Because, how the fuck do you consider this pornography, man? Like, what do you even see that is actually really explicit, little bro? Shut up, I don't care if he's older than me. He later did get owned by a kid 4 years younger than him. That's why I called him little bro. Anyway, with all that aside, not to mention, he even accused Crazy of harassment. Yes, I'm getting into that right now, like I said earlier. Which do keep in mind, Crazy was also in a relationship with someone named Ashland, but later they broke up. It was pretty successful at the time though, however. And then, probably months after him and Ashland broke up, Kenny had the fucking audacity to pull some shit out of his ass and accuse him of harassing her. As if he's never heard of something called true love. Like, man, don't listen to this fucking hypocrite right here. Cause, hell, she even did debunk that shit herself. So what do you have to say about that now, Kenny? How else did he even quote-unquote harass her to begin with? Anyways, next term. Number 4, the homophobes and transphobes part. As I'm just already getting to the point of this, believing that there's only 2 genders in this planet Earth somehow makes us quote-unquote homophobic and transphobic now apparently. And yes, Kenny, along with his fuck buddies, did go after us just for believing this ideology right here. Which I have no intention to be this term I'm debunking right now, but that ideology right here is true. I'm just saying. Like when we say there's only 2 genders, we're talking about actual sex. Like male and female, for example. Not this whole fucking LGBTQ shit, by the way. Again, I'm not meaning to sound homophobic or transphobic or whatever. I mean, sure I did sound a little too satire with that. But believe it or not, it's still true. So, hopefully you guys get it instead of going out of your way to cancel me for that. Oh, and before I get to the next and last term, if you're wondering if I still, at least, respect someone that's gay despite the ideology I believed in or whatever, as long as they are not weird as fuck and are actually pretty chill, yeah, I pretty much do, or will, treat them how they want to be treated, of course. I'm not a complete asshole anymore, kinda like I used to be back in 2021 and 22. Although I still don't support the LGBTQ to this day, but I kinda feel like I took that shit to a whole new level back then, not gonna lie. However, man, I'm not even gonna yap about this right now. This is a fucking commentary video, so therefore, let's just go to the next term anyway, shall we? And last but not least, the Nazis part. And because I could just show one screenshot on how, in his logic, he thinks we are Nazis, the last one I'm debunking right now is gonna be pretty short, so let's just talk about it anyway. Well, I kid you not. Wanna know the funny and very laughable thing about this? That motherfucker legitimately called us Nazis for sending just one fucking image of a Nazi flag. I mean, come on, man. How the fuck does one image of a flag automatically make us Nazis? Like, seriously, be fucking for real, dude. Like I said before. Alright, and now that is all the terms he considered us as I had to debunk. So, after all of that, without further ado, let's continue this video. Alright, so my apologies if the whole debunking shit I had to do lasted as long as the intro of this video. There's just a bunch of explanation I had to do and a bunch of evidence I had to share to you guys. But anyway, as he was calling us pedophiles, pedosadists, zoophiles, zoosadists, and more, it's actually very fucking hypocritical coming from him, because yet, Kenny on the other hand, and I shit you the fuck not, that guy is literally still friends with Duchess, who, by the way, is the same motherfucker that unironically ships Maggie and SpongeBob 24/7, and not to mention, even made a fucking picture of them having sex. And yes, surprise surprise, Duchess is actually still around, despite making those fucking shipping pictures of Maggie and SpongeBob on DeviantArt 2 years ago. Which I don't know why that guy's still fucking here, but like, motherfucker, you cannot be pulling all that shit out of your ass when you're literally still friends with one of the actual biggest creeps on the internet, dude. Like, come on. And in addition to that, after he gaslighted the shit out of us like this, Kenny also went out of his way to drag his fuck buddies into this drama, even if they never wanted to be involved in it to begin with. And apparently some of them dragged themselves into it too. And guess what? They did in fact agree with all the terms Kenny considered us as. And what's very funny and ironic about that is, speaking of them not wanting to be a part of this, or whatever, they still proceeded to attempt acting all hard and tough against us in the group chat anyway, because of how not surprisingly manipulative he really is. Which, do keep in mind, we did go 3v7 with each other at that time. Then yet, after they tried to act tough against us, and yes, we did cyberbully the shit out of those motherfuckers defending Kenny to death, all of a sudden, to no surprise, they later decided they wanted to fucking pull a suicide card, and went out of their way to accuse us of making them suicidal in that one GC. Like, dude, at least it's not our fucking fault, because y'all cannot be either dragging yourselves or getting dragged into this by Kenny, tried to act all hard and tough by, of course, calling us weak, pathetic, clowns, and blah 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 blah, and then proceed to go, guys, I'm feeling hurt right now because someone attacked me in that one GC. I'm going to self-harm myself. Bro, y'all have been pulling that shit for 4 fucking years now. Like, if that's really the case, then how the fuck are you guys still alive to begin with? Man, just get the fuck out of my dick with that, will ya? And apparently, this is also an quote-unquote example of a suicidal person self-harming themselves too. Alright, look, I know one of them did eventually turn on him already, which gladly they did. It's just that as I'm voice recording this right now on Vegas, I've been working on this commentary for 50 days so far. And yes, I'm not joking, as you can tell by the intro of this video. I know, I've just been lazy and demotivated as fuck. Most of the time I've been busy, so no offense to the people I mocked that acted like this in the GC, I guess. But anyway, oh, I also forgot to mention that during the 3v7 thing, they even tried to dox us multiple times, but failed miserably, when in fact, we actually do have Kenny's whole personal information, and especially some of his fuck buddies they dragged themselves into, or whatever. And yes, therefore, we cooked the shit out of them, and we did win. Fucking bitch ass removed them, aka us, from the GC. And you wanna know what's funny and ironic? Well, this motherfucker said his name is actually Deadkin, but Wienert isn't his last name. And now in public he wants to say that all the names Deadkin Wienert, which is actually his first and last name by the way, isn't his. Like, boy, be fucking for real. And I double also forgot to mention that after Kenny and his fuck buddies did all that constant stupid and retarded shit, he also wants to talk about some, oh hey, I just saved the community, yay, like, motherfucker, what? My guy, what year do you think this is, 2021? You can't save the fucking community, obviously, so how the fuck are you gonna constantly gaslight us, be very manipulative, be very fucking delusional, be that desperate, self-centered, and more, but then say that you saved the community? Like, no the fuck you didn't, Kenny. You're not fucking Superman. Therefore, I don't think you should be proud of yourself to begin with. So, pipe down, little bro. Anyway, with all that aside, I'm also getting into another reason on why or how Kenny is way more than an asshole. And I'm gonna warn you that this reason is very controversial, hell, even more controversial than the time he compared Caillou getting his penis cut off to South Park, and the previous rest of his actions I exposed in this video. And do keep in mind this is also a confession to expose, so prepare for yourselves, gentlemen. Alright, so, as most of you may have probably already known, or maybe some of you don't, I do have a follow-up that not only is Kenny very manipulative, a gaslighter, a backpedaler, and more, what's even more hypocritical of him since he considered us as predators, creeps, zoophiles, and more other terms he considered us as, is that kinda just like his fuck buddy named Dushes, he's also a pedophile and a creep. And yes, the allegations are actually true the whole time, before you ask. And for example, he has been recently exposed for asking a minor if he can jerk off to him or her on a VC, and repeatedly said he's horny to a minor in his or her DMs. Not to mention, he even admitted that he once dated a 12-year-old, and do keep in mind that Kenny is 19 years old when he did that to a minor in DMs. And after he got exposed for pedophilia, he tried so hard to defend himself by sharing the post exposing him, and tried to frame someone, quote-unquote, impersonating him, and also tried to frame the screenshots as quote-unquote, inspect element. And to debunk this, don't listen to what he said at all, because the person you're seeing that is sexually harassing a minor was not an imposter, it was actually himself, Kenny. The IDs compared to this account and this account are exactly the same IDs. So here, I'll show you. You see that? That is literally his user ID on Discord. If that's really the case that it was an imposter, then they would have had completely different IDs at that time. And a screenshot of him being the creep you're seeing right now was not inspect elemented. This whole inspect element thing on Discord, especially if you're using it as a site on a computer, has been gone for quite a while now. And yes, that happened before he did this to a legitimate minor. So, as all of that has been officially proven, Kenny is no longer the guy that exposes predators. He's now officially the Predator, and I don't think there's any other way Kenny can try to be defensive from this. So Kenny, if you're watching this right now, you, sir, have been caught red-handed. All of this has been debunked, so what could be your next move now, Kenny? And now that I have exposed enough of Kenny's actions, before I get right into conclusion, I know I've already mentioned some of those guys that delivered it to me or whatever, but I'll do it again, cause why not? So, I would like to give a huge shout out to Babo, Matthew, Chronic, Xenix, Crazy, Alaskan, and last but not least, one of the OG buddies of mine, Krusty Redball, for all delivering this shit to me, this commentary video, and probably to me, so credit to them, I guess. Oh, and I would also like to give a bonus shout out to the one and only Wino Separator for also exposing him for being a creep. And another bonus shout out to everyone else that turned on him. And now, let's get into conclusion. So in conclusion, Kenny is a huge hypocrite, creep, and narcissistic. And not to mention, he's even one of those guys who would say someone's a pedophile just because they were raising their kids. I know, pretty retarded, right? Anyways, thank you guys for watching this video. Hopefully you guys get and understand the deep, controversial things Kenny has done in a while. Then again, thanks for watching, and I'll see y'all later. Bye.